In March 2016, the Honorary Hall of Fame of the International Fencing Federation accepted 6 Ukrainian athletes. Among them, there was only one girl. But what a girl! 7-time European champion, 4-time world champion, and owner of 4 medals at 3 Olympic Games in a row. She won gold and silver in the team saber and 2 bronzes in individual competitions. With such achievements, it would seem it's time for her to stop and rest on her laurels. But that's not her. She has a goal, a personal Olympic gold medal, and she is confidently moving towards it. The phenomenally talented and purposeful Olha Kharlan is the heroine of our program. Sometimes you sit and think you have everything, but something is still missing. And I really have this hunger, as I call it. It's very good. This is a big problem for an athlete who has been in sports for as long as I have. For example, the 3 Olympiads have already passed and I still seek some motivation. I think it is easier for athletes that have not won any medals. When I want a medal, I'll get it. And here I already have 4 medals, but I want more. As I always say, there are 5 Olympic rings, so I need 5 medals. That's all there is to it. But of course, there are still team competitions. And if the team wins a 6th medal, I will not be offended, not in the least.
Вот и все. Но есть еще командные соревнования. Если будет 6, я не обижусь. Вообще никак. Вообще никак.
Virgo. Tulip, probably. Lilac. A clumsy one, like a koala bear.
Неуклюжая. Что у нас неуклюжая? Коала.
Olha Kharlan was born in Mykolaiv and spent the summer with her grandparents in New Odessa. She has the brightest and warmest memories from those times. True friends, swimming in the river, bruised and scarred knees. I was such an active child. I was strong. I literally ate a lot of porridge. My grandmother fed me well with semolina, so now I just don't like it. I simply overate it. Just like most kids, I was rather disobedient and I told a lot of little white lies. Well, like old children. Olha Kharlan began her athletic career at the age of 10. From that age, she was accepted to the fencing section. Her first coach was her godfather, Anatoly Shligar. Before that, for 3 years, Olha went to a dance studio for lessons, but she liked her newly discovered hobby of fencing even more than dancing. I remember the first training session. I then came in with my mother. I also asked when the first contest will be, because that's what they were called in dancing, contests, not competitions. So I asked when the first contest will be. I really liked it. I attacked and pointed my toes, which is not important for fencing at all. Those are the memories I have from those days. That was a long time ago. I'm now 27, so that was 17 years ago. Over those 17 years, Olga has worked with many coaches. Sometimes she regrets that there was not only one who would go with her sporting way from the beginning to the end. But nevertheless, every coach had invested their skill in Olga. Artyom Skorokhod, Yuri Marchenko, Valery and Oleg Shturbabin, Garik Davidian, and of course, Vadim Gudzait, the Olympic champion of the 1992 Barcelona Olympic Games, and one of those who joined Olga in the Hall of Fame of World Fencing. At first glance, it was clear that she had a flame inside her, and bright, shining eyes. She had a burning desire to win and hated to lose. It was written on her face. If she lost, she showed it in her temperament. When she won, everyone could see the thrill of victory in her eyes. So she constantly strove for victory and did not give up until she ascended to the podium to receive her hard-earned medal. Vadim Gudzait was always there for us in Beijing and London and Rio de Janeiro. He is the man who very seriously supports us. In training sessions, by the way, it's the same. He trains us and he gives us lessons. The emotional flow that comes from him is very strong. In this way, he lifts up your spirits to go only for victory. But he can also bring you down. I think this is a good character trait. He was great and unique because he never stuck his nose up into the sky or wore a crown on his head. Purely by his nature, he was never pompous or so impetuously arrogant.
Мне кажется, это хорошо. То есть нет такого, что вот всегда корона на голове. Такого никогда нет.
When Olga realized that fencing was no longer just a hobby for her, she left the ordinary school and entered a special sports boarding school. 2 training sessions a day and studies in between, and it was every day from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. It was extremely strenuous and difficult for this young fencing fanatic. The life of family holidays and wild all-night parties with friends passed by, but she was motivated with a lust for competing and winning in fencing competitions. I was waiting for the competition very much. We were told when we have competitions, and I wrote this down in my diaries that I had a competition in a week or 2. I really wanted this, because of the trip itself, that I could just escape from my mother. and independence like that. It's no secret that I like Harry Potter. I watched every part of the film series 10 times over in different languages. Pop music. I like to read horror novels, especially anything by Stephen King. At the age of 14, Olha was accepted to the national fencing team of Ukraine and, at her first adult European championship, won the bronze team medal. It was a phenomenal result for her age. Colleagues on the team, who are 2 years older, appreciated the early talent and took her into the team, which will soon be called Golden.
Мы в хороших всегда отношениях были, не было такого у нас, как говорится, бабовщины не было.
Our relationship was always good. We did not have that new girl bashing. The girls were Olya and Olena Khumrova. We got on well, and they were good to me. Although I was smaller, I quickly outgrew them both mentally and physically. I set myself a goal for training, for example, to beat Dasha, Lenya, and Khalya. They had the same goal, I think. And then I started to succeed, and I think they were happy for me. Then Dasha left the team, and a girl named Olga Zovnir joined the junior team so that we could compete in the Junior Olympic Games in Beijing.
И вот мы тогда сплотились как команда. Уже потом Даша ушла, пришла Оля Жовнер, и вот так вот и получилось у нас в Пекине.
Before the beginning of the 2008 Beijing Olympics, few people predicted medals for the team of young fencers. Yes, they had won a silver medal at the Worlds and the European Championships. Yes, they had good chances. But no one expected of the girls such sensational results at the Games. Olha Kharlan was 17, Olga Zovnir 18, Khalya Pundik and Olena Khumrova were 19. They could not even imagine that her victory at the Games in China would be called the symbol of the era. The night before the team competition, they had absolutely no sleep.
У нас первая встреча была с Россией, с командой России, потом мы ее выиграли.
In our first match, we faced the Russian team. We won it by a huge score. Then we beat the US team, which took first, second, and third places in individual competitions. And the same girls fenced. We again beat them by a score of 45-39, and then we fenced in the finals with China. That was very difficult because it was in China, which had huge support on their home floor. It was very tough for us. For them, it was great, but our fans also came to support us, and it was great to hear their cheers. There were few, but it was thundering support from the stands, and then everything went in our favor.
Потому что к нам тоже приходили наши болельщики, и их тоже было очень слышно. Их было немного, но было очень слышно. Вот. И вот тогда это все случилось. Как-то.
Of course, it's all about courage. She's provocative and is not afraid of anything at all. Now I can say that she has really matured. She's 26, and it's been 9 years since the Beijing Olympic. Of course, there is already more analysis, more views, more of everything. But I reiterate, she is a strong athlete, and her psychological attitude is very important here. If she is psychologically tuned to what she is doing, she leaves no opportunity for anyone to beat her. At the next Olympics in London in 2012, Olga won the bronze medal in individual competitions. In Rio de Janeiro, she repeated her personal achievement and won a silver medal with a brand new team. We were very worried. It was our first Olympiad with the girls, of course, except Olga. And at the time, Olga already had a third medal. So she supported us, she oriented us towards our goal, and tried to calm us down. Because really, there is such an atmosphere in which you can start off onto the path to victory, and somewhere you lose your focus. It was difficult, but we did it, and the emotions were only positive. We, as spectators, sometimes think that behind the dense mesh of a mask, a fencer cannot see the gaze of the opponent and cannot feel their emotion. That's exactly what prevents a fencer from making a psychological attack. In fact, this is not so. The opponent's eyes often strike even harder and faster than a fencing rapier. Everything is visible. I always say to her, cover those surnames with a sticker so that nobody can see them and that you can't see them, and just go out and fence as you would with anybody. But unfortunately, there is always a psychological barrier. If she lost one time to an opponent, she has a certain psychological barrier to the point that she cannot fence with the same opponent the next time. Then again, these are all the stereotypes that I try to apply, and all trainers try to do the same to change the mindsets and psychological approaches of their athletes. So the penultimate fact is that Olga also has to simply go out and fence and fight to victory, regardless of whatever faceless athlete behind the mesh is going up against her on the mat with a rapier in hand.
Это когда все в порядке, у тебя нет.
That is when everything is all right. You have no bad thoughts, nothing bothers you, and you simply go out and enjoy life as it is.
чтобы все...
To make everything you want possible and not think bad about anything. This is something very bright, unforgettable feeling, sensations, butterflies in the stomach, and of course, is associated with some kind of man.
В животе и ассоциируется с каким-то, конечно, человеком.
Dmytro Boyko is exactly the kind of man with whom Olga associates the word love. He's also a fencer.
Удивил предложением своим.
Maybe the offer of marriage? And did you expect it? Oh no, I expected it, of course. Well, how? I was already thinking about it, and was also probably thinking about it because we had been dating for a long time, some 4.5 years, and there should have been eventually a logical outcome to all this romance. Wedding rings, tears, and bruised knees, the whole 9 yards. We got married and all went well.
Было, сватание было, все прошло как...
Now, Dima works as a coach in the US in Boston. Olga lives and trains in Kiev, and although their love has successfully passed the long-distance test, to this day they still want to see each other as often as possible. Her husband is in America, Olga is here. This isn't a normal family life, unfortunately, and I can see that she suffers. All the same, at the age of 26, when you want to be with your loving husband and family, it is very difficult for her. Mind you, they have a very good relationship, and are devoted to their sport and to one another. After the Olympics in Rio in 2016, Olha Kharlan sustained a serious injury and had to undergo surgery. She had major problems with her shoulder. On forced vacations, she attended many classes that she earlier simply did not have the time for and discovered many talents she did not know of.
Фотографировать и вышивать даже бисером. И вот рисовать.
I tried photography and even embroidering beads, and now I draw. And what else have I tried? Well, I learned a few languages, but that's just in my leisure time. I would take it more seriously if I could simply find the time for it.
Вот я бы этим серьезно занималась, если у меня было время, серьезно. Но чего я...
What I cannot always refuse is seafood dishes, mostly with fish. Borscht, mommy's borscht. I can cook it. It's my pride and joy. Lemonade. At the annual award ceremony for the country's top athletes, titled Heroes of the Sports Year 2016, Olha Kharlan was in the spotlight. And not only because she became the Athlete of the Year for the 3rd time, she looked amazing as always. This young lady loves to dress up and knows how to look as beautiful as she can. All the more, she is her own personal stylist. First of all, I select what suits me. Not everything fits. So I try my best. It's like a sports version of the Oscars. We want to look beautiful at least once a year and see the audience gawk at us like sexy girls. After all, seeing us in a fencing uniform training with a strange hairdo is one thing, but on such occasions you can show off your true looks. That doesn't happen that often. So in this case, I basically want to make a good impression first and foremost, to satisfy myself and know that I am an attractive woman and not just a fencer behind a mesh. For Olga, shopping is not just a necessity to replenish her wardrobe, but also a kind of therapy, especially after unsuccessful competitions. Just recently, I thought that I already had some problems because I came from the Moscow saber competition, where I lost for the entrance to the final 8. And I realized that I was stressed out because I bought 4 pairs of shoes in one day. So I came out of the store and it was like, oh, now I have 4 pairs of shoes. Olha Kharlan is an enterprising girl, and she is not afraid to take responsibility and make decisions. With such qualities, she has the flair and business acumen to become a good manager in any field her coach believes. She wants to open her own Olha Kharlan club. I see that she is trying to find sponsors to buy equipment and find coaches so they have work. I understand that she can be really a very good manager. I can see that she has the skills and knowledge to one day find herself a career in coaching of some kind, and perhaps become one of the leaders among the main trainers of the Ukrainian fencing team. Well, for now, Olga has an Olympic dream, which she plans to fulfill at the Olympic Games in Tokyo in 2020. What she wants is her own personal gold medal, and she is such a person that if she sets a goal, she is so determined and steadfast that she will not give up until she achieves it. So until she has a gold medal in her hand, she will not give up. That is her ultimate motivation.
3 года точно, а там уже
3 years exactly, and there we'll see. But that's what I said after London. Rio de Janeiro was ahead of us, and we would see what happens there. So I just looked, and Tokyo is definitely in my focus. But we shall see. Olha Kharlan is an athlete with a capital letter A. When she felt the taste of victory, she is always ready to fight for it. While her hand is firm and the rapier is quick and sharp, she is a real fighter, a purposeful, uncompromising individual with the pure soul of a child and the ambitions of a leader. There are no undefeated rivals for her. She's ready to fight with anyone and produces her rapier with one aim in mind: win Win-win.